All right. So this is a bit of a challenge for myself, right? People ask me, like, how can I get started on Amazon for like a small amount of money? And I usually tell them, guys, it's not really possible. Um, or at least I don't want to get their hopes up and make them feel like, I can do this on a shoestring and succeed. But at the same time, I want to just run through like how I would potentially start an Amazon FBA business for less than $1,000. And I'm going to be talking about private label. I'm not talking about wholesale. I'm not talking about retail arbitrage. This is not what I recommend, or at least it's not what I do, right? For long term, right? I'm not saying those models don't work. They do. They have a place. Not necessarily from Ireland for some of it. But you can make them work. But guys, if you want to start private label for under $1,000, there's no way you can get like a huge order. Very unlikely for less than $1,000. It's just probably not going to happen. You're probably going to limit yourself in terms of the products you can research. So what I really think you need to do is you need to start a combination of different models. So let's first of all think about, well, actually, no, I want to show you. It is possible though. It is possible. There's my first product. It's Ben Bulben dog whistles. Now they're no longer for sale, folks, right? But I did start them for about $1,000. That was what the cost was. It was $1.10 per unit. Generally, the smaller an item, the more competitively priced it is. So the lower cost it is, to ship. Therefore, the greater likelihood you'll be able to launch it for under $1,000, right? Now, the problem is I find the smaller the item, like items like this, everyone is running after them, which means that like competitive wise, you're going to be really much a race to the bottom and you don't have a lot to play with at that price point, because if anything changed in terms of PPC or in terms of, Amazon's fees or in terms of your competitors' pricing, you've nowhere to go, right? Whereas more expensive, you have margin, right? Nonetheless, we want to get started for under $1,000. So what I'd recommend you do is find generic items, right? That you're like, okay, I could sell this item, right? I think there's a margin in this item, okay? But I want to test it and I don't want to have to buy, 100 units, right? What I would do is I would I do all my research, first of all. I'd find the product. I'd contact the supplier. I get the pricing. I'm happy with them, right? I'm happy with all that, right? I'm now going to test it out. My business is set up. I have my brand. I have all that stuff done, right? I have all the paperwork done, like, which generally doesn't really cost a lot. So there's no real cost in that. Maybe you spent £140 on well, actually, you can do for less. Let's say £50 on your GS1 barcodes. Your brand, you spent about £170. So it's 220. You've set up your business and about 235. A few other wee things. Let's say 250. You're all set up. So you've £750 left, right? I would take that £750 and buy a handful of units of the product that you are considering selling, right? I get them delivered to yourself. Now I buy them actually off Amazon or off a similar site platform, right? I get them delivered, okay? I'd make sure in advance that there's no reference to the competitor's brand. So you don't want their name mentioned on it. You want these to be completely generic items that, no one could say you didn't order these from China, right? I then would go and I would send them into Amazon, right? At the price I intend to sell them at, right? In the carton I intend to sell them with, like the complete listing, right? The listing to be created in terms of images, in terms of copy, in terms of text, in terms of everything, right? And then I'd watch and see if they sell. If they sell and you make a profit, or you break even, or you make a slight loss, because remember, you're buying these locally, but you determine that, okay, there's demand here, they're selling, I would then go to China and purchase them, right? I hope that makes sense. Like, the reality is it's going to be very difficult to order any sort of sizable quantity from China with a small budget. It just won't happen, right? But by doing it this way, you get selling on Amazon quickly. You've proven that a product has legs, that it could potentially work. And you've got to the stage now where you're like, okay, I'm comfortable to spend more money because I know based on this experience that there is money to be made here. I hope that's helpful. People have been asking me this a lot, and I just wanted to, that's how I would go about it. That's how I would go about it. I think that's probably like kind of like a retail arbitrage model, possibly. But I just see it as a product testing model, a way to test a product quickly. You could go to China and ask them, will they send you 5 units, 10 units? But to be honest, you think that's just messing. And it's going to cost you a lot to get those products from China anyway. So you may as well just buy them locally and get them shipped to you really quick. Make sure they're good and send them into Amazon. Recoup some of your money. And ideally, you're probably not buying them on Amazon. You're probably buying them elsewhere. Or maybe, for example, I'll just give you an idea. There's a product on Amazon. You buy 2 units and you put them into one box and you make a twin pack. Maybe there's no one else selling a twin pack. You test that out with the local stock. You do that 5, 10 times. It sells. You're like, yeah, that's good. Let's go for it. Just ideas, folks. Hope this is helpful. Yeah. And folks, if you're interested in working with me, up to the link there in the bio, you will see there ways to do that. And any question down below in the comments. And I'll talk to you soon.